Hi guys, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're watching this from. I just decided to do a pre-recording just because Facebook and Instagram Live really don't like me. I'm sure everyone's had their own little inside tantrums with going live and then having issues afterwards. So like I said, I did a pre-recording just to basically, I want to cover a certain amount of things without getting interrupted by technology. So I thought I'd go make a video prior to make sure that there's no hassles in between. So today or this week's habit was working out smart, and I use the word smart because we don't all have hours and hours and hours to train. I'm sure we'd all love to, but we don't have the time, we don't have some of us don't have the energy. I know there's certain days that I definitely don't. But yeah, we don't really have the time. We don't have the time. We're not athletes, we're not getting paid to do this, so we really just want a better body, a healthier life, a little bit stronger, a little bit fitter. So however that gets us to it, that's how we're going to go. Obviously, if you can work out in 10 minutes and get the same results as working out in 60 minutes, then why not? So that's sort of the topic of this week, is how can we work out smart and effectively to make sure that we're getting what we're banking on without spending hours and hours doing monotonous things that aren't getting us anywhere. So obviously I wouldn't be a CrossFitter if I didn't naturally have to talk about what I do. So I am a CrossFit level 3 coach, and I absolutely love it. I was in global gyms. I love sports as well, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of things, but I found that the closest thing to school sports and what I loved about school sports, it like nothing after that. You get so invested in like this community and having the friends and having things that people love and are in common with you. Obviously you join a hockey group and there's 30 other people that do hockey, you know that they're all invested in doing the same thing with swimming, water polo, ballet, whatever the case may be. Then after that, unless you go to university or you find a group of those exact same things, and a lot of the time then time becomes the issue, because then the clubs are 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. and you often have to work or whatever the case may be. You can't often join at the exact same time that the clubs are having their sort of sessions in. So that was my case, was that I was in uni after school and I couldn't join the hockey club. So hockey was my thing in school. I absolutely loved it, as opposed to with other things, but hockey was like my thing. And then after that, it was just way too much effort to basically get there. So I'd have classes till super late. I had a part-time job, but then I still obviously had like uni work to get through. There was just no way that I could go then trek to the opposite side of Cape Town and go to this hockey class twice a week. It just wasn't going to happen. So I did the Globo Gym thing for a long time. That was from like 15, 16 onwards. I was like Globo Gym girl. You could see me on the treadmill, you could see me on the elliptical, you could see me doing the little circuit thingies, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong, guys. If that's your thing, go for it. But I just obviously want to talk a little bit about working out smart. So, what CrossFit does. So if you have to walk into a CrossFit gym, no one's actually going to obviously say this to you because it's not going to mean anything to you. But what is CrossFit? It is constantly varied functional movements at high intensity. So obviously, no matter, you know why no one's going to say that to you, because you're going to be like, what the hell does that mean? So I'm going to break it down for you. Constantly varied, meaning always changing the movements, always changing the types of movements, always changing the combinations of movements. So not only is there no such thing as like Monday back, Tuesday abs, Wednesday arms, Thursday core, whatever the case may be. There's Monday we squat, then Tuesday we bench, then Wednesday we do rope climbs, and then Thursday we do cardio, and then the next Monday we do cardio, then we do bench, then we do, whatever the case may be. So not only is there no schedule as of such, there's also the change of movements. So the combination of movements. So we can go in two ways. We can go combination of movements, the actual movements, and how we do the movements in obviously different time durations and weight durations. So we can change the combo of movements. So we can do squat, sit up, push up, and then the next week we can do squat, pull up, then the next week we can do squat, bench. Then changing the actual kinds of movement. There's overhead squat, there's front squat, there's back squat, there's body weight squat, there's pistol squats. I mean, that's that's just squats. That's just changing the different kinds of squats. Then the time arrangement or the weight arrangement, meaning we can do a 5-minute AMRAP of just body weight squats. That's going to give you a completely different stimulus, a different feeling as to doing a 1 rep max I almost said bench, a 1 rep max squat, or a 2 rep max, or a 5 rep max, or how much squats can we do, like what we say in 5 minutes, but how much weighted squats can we do in 5 minutes, how many body weight squats can we do in 5 minutes. That's going to be completely different on its own. So that's the constantly varied. Just to sum that up, we can have different actual movements, we can have different combinations of movements, and we can have different weight and time varies of those movements. So constantly varied is very much like the thing. You can definitely change anything. And what's that going to do for you? It's going to keep you adapting. So when you wake up and you sore from gym, that's a good thing. That means your body's like, hell, you actually did something to me that I need to actually like wake up and smell the roses and actually like adapt to this now, because you like really pushed me. If that's not happening, if you going into gym and doing a 5x5 deadlift at the exact same weight, the exact same time of the day, every single day of that week, 90% of the time you're obviously not going to be sore the next day, because your body's like, you're not doing anything to me anymore. I've done this. This is fine. This is like, push me harder now. Obviously, your body's not going to say that, but that's basically the message. So when people say, oh, I don't want to be sore anymore, that's the point. Unfortunately, like, I know sometimes it sucks to like have to move around throughout the day and be sore, but that's your body actually saying like, you really made me do something, and you actually, benefiting from that. So the next thing is high intensity, and that's basically speaking for itself. Can you push yourself? Because again, I speak about the time difference in the constantly varied. Can you go from a 5-minute where you push yourself to see how many squats you can do in 5 minutes is very similar to the high intensity of doing a 1 rep max back squat. It obviously might not feel the same, because the one's going to feel harder than the other, in the sense of like pushing yourself for 5 minutes is a lot harder than doing a 1 rep max back squat, but you're pushing your body in completely different ways. So that's that high intensity that I speak of. So you need to push yourself. That's the point of that high intensity. Can we keep pushing ourselves? Because again, if I fall back to that 5x5, you're doing it, and then you're going for a coffee, and then you're doing your next set, and then you're going to chat to your friends for half an hour, then you're doing the next set, and then you actually realize you're not really into this anymore, so you take down the weights, or whatever the case may be. That's, again, not changing you whatsoever. So not only can you do it at the same weight, that's not going to give you the benefit, but like slowly incorporating a little bit more weight, that's gonna start pushing you a little bit harder. So it doesn't need to be drastic. Don't think that I have to go, oh shit, I've been deadlifting only 60 and now you expect me to put on some more weight, and what, I can't deadlift 80. No, I'm not expecting that. I'm talking like 62, 63, 65. Like, those are the sort of increases that we're wanting, so your body can be like, oh hey, you doing something different. That's good, you pushing me. So high intensity, in one way, go fast, go hard for shorter periods of time, and then longer periods of time, or via weight wise, can you actually push me by actually getting under some proper heavy weights? And that's all for form, guys. It's like 100%. Please don't do anything if you're not ready to. Rather push yourself in the way that you can actually push yourself. Like, don't think just because I I can only do one strict pull-up, now I'm going to do 30 minutes of strict pull-ups. No, not at all. Rather take it down and do ring rows and like push yourself in stamina in something easy, and then as you start getting stronger and better at things, you start incorporating that into speed and things like that. So you've got very much, I don't want to go too much into depth with this because I can imagine it starts going over everyone's head. But you push yourself in things that you feel comfortable in, okay? And then you slowly but surely, you're working your way up on other things. So you do your skill part, handstands, pistols, heavy back squats. You don't do anything that you're not comfortable under intensity yet. You're working on that separately as skill pieces where you can actually rest and recover and do your thing completely in your own time. And then the intensity part, you take what you can comfortably and then push yourself like that. And then last but not least, functional movement. So like I said, guys, I'm not bashing anyone completely. I'm just telling you obviously my point of view and why I love CrossFit and why I 100% agree with what they're doing. How do I word this? That's not going to be rude. Functional movement meaning copying everyday life. So you are sitting down in the toilet. You are sitting down on the couch. You are picking things up and putting them overhead. You are picking things up and standing with them. So you are deadlifting. You are squatting. You are variations of running because you variations of lunging because you run. You separating your legs in that sort of variance. You are putting things over your head, you're lifting things onto cupboards and things like that. You are moving in these general movement patterns. So how do we make those better? That's what the functional movement sort of is. So we don't want to do necessarily things like bicep curls specifically or triceps extensions separately, because when you take those movements out into everyday life, they have no capacity. So suddenly, after doing 4 months of isolated movements only, where you isolated the biceps, you isolated the triceps, or you isolated the shoulders, whatever the case may be, you go onto the beach and you play an hour of frisbee or volleyball, and you wonder why you're not feeling fit. You're wondering why your benefits of the gym gains are not transferring over to everyday life gains, and that's because you don't work movement, you don't work muscle separately in everyday life. You don't specifically, when you're throwing a ball, you're not only isolating your bicep, you're using your lat, your shoulder, your tricep, your bicep, whatever the case may be. You're using many compound muscles to get across what you need to do in everyday life. There's a heavy couch you need to pick up so you can vacuum underneath. You're going to use every little bit of strength in your whole entire body. You're not only going to be isolating that hamstring, like that hamstring curl you lie down and specifically isolate. In saying that, I 100% agree with prehab and rehab. So obviously when we're injured, we need to separate those movement patterns because of the fact that if you've torn your quad, you might have to rehab your hamstring separately to make sure that it gets stronger while your quad heals, whatever the case may be. That's just a simple example. Jeez, like an extension. And then the other thing is, like I said, those sort of like bodybuilding globo gym movements that you see in the gym, those are definitely getting you stronger. So you can again definitely be using that in a skill piece. So go do your awesome go hard, go fast workout, and then afterwards go do a few hip extensions, a few hamstring curls, you're getting every single muscle stronger separately, so that in the compound movements, your stronger muscles aren't only getting stronger and your weaker muscles are staying weaker. So that's the sort of the only downfall of using only compound movements, is that if your core is really weak, but your quads are like dominating, you might end up obviously falling through your quads so that they end up doing the work and then like hinging and like struggling through. Even my phone hates me. Okay, so that's basically just myself is screaming at me saying, shut up, you've been talking for too long. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly. So in talking about it and explaining what CrossFit is, just basically summing that back up, constantly varied, high intensity functional movements allows us to go hard, go fast in different ways, allows us to keep changing it up, movement patterns, as well as combination of movements, as well as the types of movements. So big compound movements, meaning don't isolate one muscle group at a time, so that it can compensate for life, so it can help you in your everyday life. So why do I talk about this? It's because you can do a quick warm-up, because I never say don't warm up. A nice quick warm-up, get nice and mobile, get the body rate going, yes. And then you can do different things every single day that's going to allow you to still push, get fitter, and go harder without spending 90 minutes to 2 hours in a gym. So you can warm up, do a 20-minute AMRAP where you're going hard for 20 minutes. Then the next day you can do 3 rounds for time. In this case, I'd obviously like it to be an hour, but you can easily, and I have done before, push it to like a 40-minute workout, where I very much encourage a good thorough warm-up, and then the workout can be anywhere between, we're talking 5 minutes, if that. I've seen sprints that have gotten like people down onto the floor ready to like vomit in like minutes. It just depends on how hard you want to go, into all the way through to like 30-40 minutes. So obviously, depending on the time that you have, maybe your weekends, you can open up, you can do like a 40-minute AMRAP or 6 rounds for time, something that's going to take you a while. During the week, if you're super busy, you can get it right down to say 2 5-minute AMRAPs or 1 5-minute AMRAP, just depending on how much time you have. Obviously, never cut out the warm-up. Always do the warm-up. Even set a time for that, if that makes sense. So if you tend to faff and things like that, put the clock on and say, I'm going to warm up, I'm going to make sure I'm super warm in 6 minutes time. That's a good enough warm-up. It can vary depending on what you want to do. So the more technical stuff you want to do, the more I'd recommend a more thorough warm-up. And then you can even cut the workout to make it shorter. So if it's going to be super technical, you can make it slightly shorter, so that form doesn't break down too much. I don't want you failing at handstand push-ups or heavy deadlifts for 30 to 40 minutes. You know that's not gonna help anyone. So work out smart. Let's just recap that completely. Can I get a workout in like 30 minutes? Yes, of course you can, and I highly encourage it. I'd rather have you move hard and fast for 20 to 30 minutes safely, always safely, rather than not moving at all. So absolutely, can we think about and keep those things now in the back of your mind? Can I keep changing things up? So if I love to squat, that's great, but don't just squat lunge, squat press, squat rotate, squat hinge. Like, do different kinds of combinations, do them in different ways. So can I do 3 rounds for time? Can I work for 15 minutes at a time? Can I do 5 sets of 1-minute sprints? And those are definitely gonna, so you can do the exact same workout in completely different ways that are gonna give you a completely different stimulus, a different feeling afterwards, or a different feeling during, rather. I don't want to get too into depth, but you're hitting different energy systems, which that's why it's going to make it feel different, some ways worse than others. And then make sure you're obviously always moving safely. Try get a cool down in, whether it just be 2 minutes. So make your warm up thorough, get your workout hard, and then cool down, like literally as you're packing the weights away. Just get a stretch here and there, so that you're not just freaking out, I need to get back to the office, and then just rush off. Like, you want to try get that elevated heart rate back to normal. Okay, I'm going to try stop talking now. Have an amazing weekend, guys. So nice hearing from you. So nice seeing from you. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments when I upload this video, or hopefully when I go live and I don't freak out and throw Facebook off the face of the earth. Bye.